We also have one of the most prolific writers in America, right here in Chicago. That's what's so cool about it. And I happen to be this is somebody that I happen to get to hang with every now and again. And what can I say other than this is once again Chicago doing what Chicago does, and that's representing and having great, wonderful people. With us this morning is American author and public historian, none other than Michelle Duster. Good morning, Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit of muffling, but we got you. So listen, okay. I'll say this, guys. Michelle's always busy. I want to say Michelle's been busy recently. She's always busy. That's why it's hard to get her on, but when we can, we're thrilled that we can have her on. And for many of you who don't know, Michelle, part of her legacy is she is the great-granddaughter of Ida B. Wells. And that Michelle has done what legacy allows you to do, and that's take that legacy and magnify it and make it something even bigger and greater and influential. And that's why she is such a prolific writer and historian. And I always love it when we have Michelle on the show. But talk to us about what you are currently working on. And I'll tip everybody's hands. He's got two great bits of work recently. One is called By Black, and the other is called We're Done. Talk to us about these most recent articles, Michelle.
Well, yeah, I've been writing columns for Rebellious Magazine for Women, which is a locally produced online magazine by a black woman, Karen Hawkins. And so I've been writing a column called Centering Ourselves, with the idea that I would write articles about kind of what's happening in the world from the perspective of black women. Of course, I don't speak for all black women, but I do kind of put my finger in the wind, and I pay attention to what's going on, and I try to capture the overall general sentiments that I see, as well as obviously my own point of view, my own opinions and take on things. And so this latest article, We Done, Black Women Don't Need Permission to Flourish, was really about after this selection of this person in the White House, it's been less than 70 days now of what we predicted would happen. And so I feel like overall our attitude, the 92% who voted for the qualified woman, is that we are not waiting for the federal government to figure out how to prioritize our needs. And so we are just going to do what we've always done as a people and take care of ourselves. And whenever they get it together, maybe we'll rethink our relationship, but we don't have time to try to wait and see if they can, prioritize things and get things together and value us, because we have been collateral damage in this, Dodge initiative to, shrink the federal government. Black people are overrepresented in the federal government, and so that deeply affects us, as well as so many other, slash and burn, tactics that this administration has taken. So here we are. We're done. We are not even paying attention anymore. We're just going to do ourselves.
I've seen a number of and thanks, Michelle, for breaking that down. I've seen a number of clips on social media, and candidly, no gloves off here, Hispanic women who've been upset at black women for not leaning in right now to help in this cause, particularly in the area of deportation. And I can't get away from the iconic, what has now become the iconic social media meme of a number of black women. Yeah, see, you knew where I was going. Of a number of black women sitting on top of a few skyscrapers with 92, meaning the percentage of black women that voted for democracy and against tyranny, basically having their cups of coffee, chilling, watching it burn. Because
yes,
I've taken it out of my vocabulary of saying we tried to tell you. No, we didn't try to tell you. We told you. And black women particularly and specifically told everybody, and including the candidate, that this was going to happen. And so as a man, and specifically a black man, I understand the phrase "we done," and you can add to that "y'all," because I stay in the fight, and I know you stay in the fight, but we're fighting it from a perspective that says, and listen, Michelle, you know this, you stay plugged into everything. Now we've got foreign leaders of countries that have been two of our best allies, the UK and Canada. They kind of are saying the same thing. We done, y'all. We can't trust that the country that was supposedly our ally can be trusted with secure, specific information when it comes to warfare. So black women, once again, are taking the lead in this space. We're done. But we've got foreign leaders that are saying some of the same type of stuff. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like our country is schizophrenic, because we went from Barack Obama to the President 45, and then we went to Biden, and then we went to the same person for, President 47. And so we are erratic as a country. And if I were a foreign leader, I would be like, I don't know what direction you're coming from. I mean, even if you say you're going to be in an agreement and then 2 years later you're not in the agreement and then you're in it and you're out and you're in and you're out. It's like, you know what? How about you all get some therapy and figure out who you are and what you stand for as a country, and then come talk to us. But, this complete, swinging back and forth, it's not sustainable for anybody to make any kind of agreements with us.
I have not heard anybody use the word schizophrenic, but why would I be surprised that it would come from Michelle Duster to use that psychological analyzation? Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. Michelle, you're right. We have become, since Barack Obama became president, schizophrenic in our actions certainly on a federal level when it comes to electing leaders. And we went back to the same abuser. And I'm not demeaning,
he is abusive.
I'm not demeaning anyone that's been in an abusive relationship. So please, y'all, don't get your undies in a bundle about that. I'm just speaking from 10,000 feet. We went back to the abuser. Not all of us, but it
is abuse. I mean, I'm not a clinician, but I do know what abuse is, and what the person in the White House is doing is emotional abuse. Constantly calling people names, threatening people with, I'm not. So it's emotional abuse and it's financial abuse. On a micro level, on an interpersonal level, if he were doing that to an individual person, that would be considered abuse. Because financial abuse is withholding funds if you don't do what they say. Constantly threatening to defund things. That is financial abuse.
Yeah, and
emotional abuse, all the name calling and all of the, the threats. It is abuse.
Michelle, earlier I talked about this situation, and you talk about abuse and name calling with Representative Jasmine Crockett. I don't endorse anybody teasing someone about something that's an ailment, a disability, a condition, whatever, a lifestyle. That's just not me, But she was stating fact, and her use of the wording, which she's a little bit of a wordsmith every now and again, was appropriate. But to ask for her to apologize. And we have, to your point, a person in the White House that has been and still is abusive and abusing people. When that apology comes, then we can have a conversation about Representative Crockett, and an apology.
And she called him Hot Wheels, which, I guess they want to consider that to be an insult. It could be considered almost, just sort of tongue-in-cheek. It depends on how people want to take it. That's different than calling somebody low IQ, low class, dumb. That's where you're attacking their character.
Yep.
And so I don't think you can have – those are not apples-to-apples level of insults. But, they want to insult everybody all the time. But then if you say anything, then all of a sudden, you're the one that's taking the low road. So that, again, the dynamics of we can be treated any old kind of way, insulted all the time. I mean, look at how the 47th president acted at NABJ. That's okay. But then as soon as we say or do anything, then it's like, oh, my God. So to me, that is also abusive, because it's like we don't have the same ability to come back at them. We just need to take it, always be gracious, always be, understanding, while they have no respect for us at all.
And that right now, in this last few days of Women's History Month, which should be like Black History every day of the year. Women's history, like Black history, is American history. But I wanted to circle back to that in the conversation around abuse and just take it. This is another setup for women to just be put in a position, all women, but particularly Black women and other women of color, to be put in a position to just have to have things taken away from while you sit back and take the abuse. And Black women are having it. It's clear. I mean, your article about shopping Black and Black-owned businesses is wonderful, and you guys should check it out. But Michelle, talk a little bit about that article that came out last week, I should say.
Well, yeah, I mean, so all this anti-DEI initiatives of we're going to dismantle and unravel any remnant of Black or brown or any other minority veterans. I mean, that's the thing about DEI. It's really been used as a synonym for Black, although what it really stands for is, first of all, it's an acronym. It stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which means diversity from all white men. So that includes white women. That includes veterans. It includes disabled. It includes people of color. So it's an all-umbrella diversity of people who have historically not had the same opportunities. That's diversity. Then equity is everybody being treated with the same level of respect. And then inclusion is that you're actually included you're not just in the room, but you're included in, what's happening in the room. So for these companies to say, well, no, we're going to dismantle DEI, what you're really saying is that you don't want diversity, you don't believe in equity, and you don't believe in inclusion. And we, Black women, Black people in general, Black women in particular, since we're double minority, are the collateral damage of these people saying, oh, well, we don't want to be perceived as oppressing white men, because, it's been positioned as DEI excludes white men. So they're the victims, even though, they've had about 390 years of preference. But once you have any level of attempts to have other people included, then they're the victims. And so, it's like there's been this incredibly rapid dismantling of everything that was about trying to give other people an opportunity, I guess, in order to make white men feel like they have a chance because they were so disenfranchised. And so, again, it's kind of like this whiplash thing, because after George Floyd, all of these companies and all of these institutions were running to say, oh, we care about social justice. We're going to do something about it. And there were all this buildup, right? All these workshops, all of these initiatives, and here we are 5 years later saying, you know what, we're done. We don't care about you people anymore. We're gonna go back to what we want because white men are upset. So again, it's like we don't have time for this. We don't have time for you to decide we're flavor of the month and then we're not. Well, we care about you. No, we don't. Yes, we do. No, we don't. We're like, you know what? While you all figuring it out, we're going to take care of ourselves. We're going to support our own businesses in our own community or organizations that are clear on where they stand and stick with it.
Yeah. And it's unapologetic. And this is the thing that I think has got a lot of non-black folk. So I'm saying this, I said it intentionally that way, non-black folk concerned. So that includes other people of color, because candidly, other people of color let down the country in this recent election as much as white female voters and white male voters did. And so I say that without any filter because that's what the numbers have indicated. And black folks stepped up as we have. And I can't say that any other more plain way. And so right now, with all these cuts and these different directions that the country's taken, we have to be willing to say we've tried and we told and we did.
We tried, we told, and we tried to bring people along. And the thing that is really frustrating is that a lot of people of color, and they don't want to admit it, but I'll say it out loud, a lot of people of color have benefited from the struggles and the sacrifices that black people made in order to push this country to be more inclusive. And they came here, some of them are immigrants, some of them are, American born, and they walked through the door that we pushed open for them.
Yep.
And then they get through the door and then they step on us.
Yep.
And so I think that's why a lot of black people are like, you know what, we're not talking to you people either, because you don't acknowledge the fact that you have opportunities because we paved the way.
I have a good...
And then you get the opportunity and you step on us. So we're done.
I apologize for cutting you off, Michelle. I shouldn't have done that because I don't want you to be done with me. Michelle, I can speak to that specifically. I have a friend that's from Europe who we were hanging out about a year and a half ago, and he made the comment. He said, well, Richard, how can it be that bad? And he did what a lot of European immigrants have done. And y'all know this, so don't be upset because you may have done it yourself. He said, and he listed a few people that are black successes, the name, the number, the regular names, the usual suspects, Michael, Oprah, Tiger, LeBron, listed the Denzels of the world. And he said, what is this whole thing about reparations and why are black people so upset about da 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 da? And he literally said, my family and folks, we didn't have any slaves. We didn't benefit from slavery. And Michelle, I literally said, because I like the dude, I said, listen, I got to get to a meeting, and I was lying about. I just wanted to get the hell out of there because I didn't want to reach across the table and slap him. Because I was like, how could you be so stupid, blind, and willfully ignorant and say that? He's been in the country for 15 years. And to your point about we knocked the door open, held it open for a whole bunch of people. But then when certain people came through it, that's why this conversation around deportations and immigrants from certain parts of the southern border versus those that are coming from other parts of the world is such a slap in the face to so many people.
Yeah. And I mean, I know here in Chicago and I'm sure some other cities, there was some friction when it came to immigrants coming here, sanctuary city, and the city comes up with all this funds to help people who came to this country, yesterday, but they couldn't come up with the funds for the people who've been here for generations. Yeah. And I get it, that you have to help people when they really, really need help. You don't want to just watch them suffer. But at the same time, it's like, I know a lot of people felt like, wait a minute, you've been crying broke all this time when we say that we need this in our community. But then these people come into the community and all of a sudden, magically, you have all these funds.
Yeah.
So there was some resentment, with certain people.
But what we ultimately did, again, our community rallied around for the greater good. We know that we have to, based on humanity, help everybody. And that is once again what our community has persisted at doing. We said, okay, y'all stuck us on over time without helping. But we know that based on our humanity, we're going to get past this to a certain degree to help the folks who were sent here in the way in which they were. And that just once again shows that we are fighting to keep the door open and making it right for everybody. Karen wants to say one quick comment about something you said a moment ago.
Well, first of all, no, I just want to say you send your European friend my way. Okay, I'll have a little conversation with him. But yeah, I mean, we don't have a trans problem in this country. We don't have an immigration problem in this country. The biggest problem facing this nation is white supremacy and cisgendered white male fragility. That's what we have. And I'm 60 years old, white lady named Karen, and I'm throwing my elbows out to push back against that, because that is one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest obstacles that I feel that we as a whole have standing in our way to truly being the great country that we want to be.
Michelle, wrap us up if you can. I know that we're tight on time, and I greatly appreciate you being with us this morning. But let folks know how they can follow you, how they can find your great writing, and plug into the work that you're doing in an unapologetic but very educational and informative way. Let folks know.
Thank you. Probably the easiest way is my website, which is MLD Writes, the word WRITES.com. On my website, you'll find all the social media handles and all the writing that I've done and all the projects that I've done. So that has the most information. But almost all my social media handles are at Michelle Duster.
Got it. Fantastic. Michelle, thanks for being with us. I know you've been busy, and I appreciate you taking some time out this morning so we can chat with you and get your wonderful, wonderful observations on where we are. So thanks for taking the time out.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Michelle, good to hear your voice. Have a great weekend, okay?
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.